The large round room of the Galactic Council buzzed with the voices of 100 different species. Tall aliens with blue skin stood next to short, furry creatures. Some floated in tanks of special liquid. Others hovered on anti-gravity platforms. In the middle of it all stood Kate Hudson, the human ambassador to the Council. Kate was in the middle of her speech about Earth's new trade routes when her communication device made a soft beeping sound. She stopped talking and looked down at the small screen. Her face, normally friendly and open, became very still. Without a word, she closed her folder, gathered her papers, and walked toward the exit. "Ambassador Hudson, is there a problem?" asked Zictoral, the insect-like representative of the Vespian collective. Kate did not answer. She did not even turn around. The large doors slid open, and she walked out. Around the room, other humans, assistants, translators, security staff, also stood up and left their posts without explanation. "What is happening?" The question rippled through the chamber as confusion spread faster than light. 12 light-years away, in the White House on Earth, President Victor Martinez signed a document with a heavy pen. His face looked tired but determined. "Are you sure about this, sir?" asked Maria Gomes, his chief advisor. "Cutting off all diplomacy with the Galactic Council will have serious consequences." "They left us no choice," said the president. "We have clear proof they've been stealing resources from our colonies for years. They smile at us in meetings while they rob us behind our backs." He handed the signed paper to Maria. "Make it official. As of this moment, Earth has no diplomatic ties with the Galactic Council." In the Pentagon, Admiral Paul Wright received the order and immediately went to work. He walked into the command center where 20 officers sat at computer stations. "Implement protocol blackout," he said. The room went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. All communications with non-Earth entities are to cease immediately. Recall all diplomats. Close all embassies. Shut down the relay stations. "Yes, sir," said Commander Linda Peterson as her fingers flew across her keyboard. Protocol blackout is now active. Across the galaxy, human embassies suddenly went dark. Communication channels fell silent. Transport ships changed course and headed back to human space. On 100 worlds, confused alien officials stood outside locked embassy doors, unable to understand what had happened. At the council headquarters, High Minister Kileth called an emergency meeting. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his purple face turning almost black with anger. "Why have the humans cut all contact?" "We don't know," said Advisor Jital. "They're not responding to any messages. All we get is an automated response saying diplomatic relations suspended indefinitely." "This is ridiculous. They can't just withdraw from the council. We have agreements, treaties." In a secret meeting room below the council chamber, 5 representatives met in private. "They must have discovered our operations," said Drax of the Mining Guild. "The humans somehow found out about our work on their outer colonies." "Impossible," said Velem Noor of the Science Directorate. "We were careful. Our ships never used official channels." "Then explain why they cut all ties without warning," snapped Drax. "This is not a coincidence." On the military station orbiting Mars, Admiral Wright watched as the defensive grid came online. New weapon platforms moved into position around Earth and its colonies. "Status report," he said. "All human ships recalled from Council space," reported Captain Jack Davis. "Defensive arrays at full power, early warning systems active, and our special project." Captain Davis lowered his voice. "Project Firewall is ready if needed, sir." Admiral Wright nodded. "Let's hope we don't need it. But if they come for us." He looked at the star map showing Earth's position in the galaxy. Earth now stood alone, surrounded by potential enemies. "If they come for us," he said, "they'll find we're ready." 3 weeks passed since Earth cut off all contact with the Galactic Council. The effects rippled through space like waves in a pond. Trade routes that once bustled with ships now sat empty. Markets that sold Earth goods stood with bare shelves. Prices for basic items rose every day. In the Council's main trade hub on Centauri Prime, alien merchants looked at their empty shops with worry. Human goods, coffee, wheat, medicines, and technology had disappeared overnight. Many aliens had never realized how much they depended on humans until now. Zik Toril, the Vespian representative, sat in his private chamber trying once again to reach Earth. His large insect eyes blinked rapidly in frustration as the same message appeared on his screen. Diplomatic relations suspended indefinitely. This is madness. He clicked to his assistant. Send another message with higher priority codes. We've tried all codes, sir, his assistant replied. The humans block everything. On the human colony of Nuterra, Colony Director Olivia Garcia walked the perimeter fence with her security chief. Beyond the fence stood a group of alien merchants holding signs asking to trade. They'd been there for 2 days, said Security Chief Ryan Bell. They say they just want to continue business. They don't care about council politics. Olivia shook her head. Orders are orders. No contact means no contact. Double the guards tonight. Ryan nodded. Yes, ma'am. What about the shipments ready to go out? We have warehouses full of grain and medicine. Keep them here, Olivia said. Earth says we might need them ourselves soon. In orbit around Jupiter, Fleet Commander Daniel Jones floated in the control room of Defense Station Alpha. Through the large window, he watched as human ships moved into defensive formations. Engineers worked to install new weapon systems on older ships. Status report, Daniel said to his second-in-command. Defensive array is at 60% completion. Lieutenant Steve Harris replied. We'll have full coverage of the Sol system by tomorrow. The colonies will take another week. Daniel nodded. And our intelligence. Council ships are on the move. They haven't entered our space, but they're gathering at the borders. Looks like they're trying to decide what to do. Back at the Galactic Council headquarters, an emergency meeting had turned into shouting. Representatives from 20 different species argued with each other as economic reports showed dire numbers. My people cannot survive another month without human grain, shouted the representative from Proxima II, his tentacles waving in anger. My factories sit empty without human workers, yelled another. High Minister Kileth banged his ceremonial staff on the floor. Enough. This solves nothing. We must find out why the humans have cut contact and fix this problem. In a private room after the meeting, Kileth met with the Eldarian representative, Sora, Earth's former strongest ally. You must know something, Kileth said. The humans trusted you more than any other species. Sora's silver skin reflected the room's light as she sighed. They discovered the Council's secret operations to steal their AI technology. My sources say they found proof that Council ships hacked their research stations. Kileth's eyes widened. That was unauthorized. Only a few Council members knew about that. The humans don't see it that way. To them, the Council as a whole betrayed their trust. On Earth, Secretary of Defense Frank Miller walked into the Oval Office. President Martinez looked up from his desk. They're getting desperate, Frank said. Our spy networks report the Council has tried to break through our communications blackout 17 times in the last day. Any military moves? The President asked. Some. Several Council species are moving warships toward our borders. Not an invasion force yet, but they're definitely flexing their muscles. President Martinez stood and looked out the window at the Washington Monument. They still don't understand. They think they can pressure us back to the table. What if they try force? Frank asked. Then they'll learn why we've been holding back all these years, the President said. Activate Phase 2 of the protocol. It's time to show the galaxy that humans don't make empty threats. Frank nodded and left to carry out the order. The next stage of Earth's plan was about to begin. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council no longer looked impressive. Emergency lights replaced the usual bright glow. Many seats sat empty as representatives rushed home to deal with local problems. Those who remained looked tired and worried. High Minister Kileth stood at the center platform. This meeting of the Emergency Council will now begin. First item. The economic crisis. A thin alien with pale green skin stepped forward. Minister, the numbers are worse than we feared. 10 systems have reported food shortages. Without human grain shipments, billions face hunger within months. Another representative spoke up. Manufacturing has dropped by 60% across council space. We didn't realize how much our factories depended on human raw materials. Caleth nodded grimly. And our attempts to contact Earth. All failed, said a communications officer. They block every channel. We sent physical messengers in ships, but human defense platforms turned them away before they could enter Earth space. The Aldarian representative, Sora, rose from her seat. Her silver skin had lost some of its usual shine. I must share something with the council. The room went quiet. My intelligence sources confirmed that humans discovered our secret operations to steal their artificial intelligence technology. Gasps and angry mutters filled the room. Not our operations, Caleth corrected quickly. Those actions were taken by certain council members without full approval. The humans don't see that distinction. Sora replied. To them, the council acted as one body to steal their most valuable technology. Caleth's face darkened. Humans and their primitive territorial instincts. They overreact to everything. After the meeting, Caleth hurried to his private office. Once alone, he pulled up classified reports on his screen. The truth he hadn't shared with the council filled the display. Human ships moving into defensive positions throughout their territory. Military production increasing on all human worlds. New weapon platforms appearing in orbit around their colonies. They're preparing for war, he whispered to the empty room. On Earth, Secretary of Defense Frank Miller entered the White House Situation Room. President Martinez and his top advisors waited around a large table. Mr. President, our intelligence reports are in, Frank said. The Council is making increasingly desperate attempts to break our communication blackout. They've tried everything from diplomatic channels to direct computer hacking. Any success? The President asked. None. Our cyber defenses are holding. Admiral Paul Wright spoke next. Sir, we've detected several Council species moving war fleets toward our border systems. Not enough for a full invasion, but definitely a show of force. President Martinez nodded. They want to scare us back to the table. They still don't understand what they're dealing with. There's something else, Frank added. Our spy networks report fights breaking out between Council members. 3 minor species have already withdrawn from the Council completely. The President smiled slightly. So it begins. Their alliance was always built on convenience and profit, not true cooperation. Without human trade to bind them together, old rivalries are resurfacing. What's our next move, sir? Admiral Wright asked. Continue Phase 2 as planned, said the President. Increase our military readiness, but make no aggressive moves. Let them see our strength building day by day. And if they attack? Asked Maria Gomes, the chief advisor. The President's face grew stern. Then we show them why we've been holding back all these years. He turned to Admiral Wright. Is the Mars project ready? Yes, sir. Dr. Richard Collins reports that the quantum technology is functional. If needed, we can deploy it within hours. Good. With luck, we won't need it. But history shows that sometimes you must demonstrate your power to avoid using it. Outside the White House, life in Washington, D.C. continued normally. Citizens went about their day, most unaware of how Earth's position in the galaxy was changing. Street vendors sold food. Children played in parks. But in space, the greatest confrontation in human history was building, move by careful move, like a chess game played across the stars. The first shots were fired near Epsilon Tau, a star system at the edge of human space. A small fleet of unmarked ships attacked a human mining outpost. They moved fast, their strange shapes unlike any known Council vessels. But they weren't fast enough. Lieutenant Nickel Peters watched from the bridge of the Earth Defense Force ship Valiant as the enemy vessels approached. Target locked, said Weapons Officer Sam Green. Ready to fire. Wait, Nickel ordered. Record everything. The president will want proof of who attacked first. The enemy ships fired energy weapons at the mining station. The station's shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the attack. Now we fire, Nichols said. Defensive action only. The Valiant's weapons lit up the darkness of space. 2 enemy ships exploded immediately. The others turned to flee. Capture one if possible, Nichols ordered. We need to know who sent them. A carefully aimed shot disabled one of the retreating ships. Earth Marines boarded it and found the crew. Insect-like aliens called Zakani, known for working as mercenaries. In the ship's computer, Nichols found what she needed. Payment records, she said, reviewing the data. These Zakani were hired by someone on the Galactic Council. She sent the evidence back to Earth immediately. 2 days later, human forces moved into the Epsilon Tau system in force. They took control of 3 space stations that had previously been under Joint Human Council management. By order of Earth Command, these outposts are now under exclusive human control, announced Commander Bill Foster over all communication channels as his ships surrounded the stations. The few Council officials stationed there had no choice but to leave on the next transport ship. On the Galactic Council station, the news of the Epsilon Tau incident caused chaos. We had nothing to do with that attack, insisted High Minister Killeth to the Emergency Committee. The Council did not authorize any military action against humans. Then who hired those Zakani mercenaries? Asked Sora, the Aldarian representative. The payment records clearly came from a Council account. Killeth had no answer. After the meeting, he met secretly with 3 other Council members. This is getting out of control, he said. Someone took matters into their own hands. The humans are taking our resource stations, said the Vespian representative, Zictoral. Without those supplies, my people cannot fuel our ships. My people face food shortages already, added another representative. We need those human grain shipments. Across Council space, fights broke out between different alien species. Old rivalries that had been kept in check by Council authority now flared up. 3 minor conflicts turned into open warfare as planets fought over the dwindling resources. On Mars, in a heavily guarded underground facility, Dr. Richard Collins led a team of scientists working around the clock. The room hummed with energy as complex machines processed calculations faster than any human mind could follow. Run the test again, Richard told his assistant, Dr. Wendy Rogers. We need to be absolutely certain before we report to the president. On a large screen, a simulation showed a small device creating a field of energy that completely blocked the passage of a faster-than-light ship. It works, Wendy said, looking at the results. The quantum interdiction field completely prevents FTL travel within its range. Richard nodded. If we deploy these devices around human space, no alien ship could reach us using faster-than-light travel. They would have to spend years or decades crossing the distance at sublight speeds. It's the ultimate defensive weapon, Wendy said. We could cut ourselves off from the rest of the galaxy completely if we needed to. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Richard replied. But if the Council forces our hand. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Everyone in the lab knew what was at stake. This wasn't just about protecting human space anymore. This was about changing the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Strange energy readings appeared on monitoring stations throughout Council space. At first, the alien scientists thought their equipment was broken. The readings were too large, too powerful to make sense. Then the reports came in from dozens of different systems, all showing the same thing. Something big was happening in human territory. On the Council's main military base, General Drav of the Orion species stared at the star map with growing concern. New signatures had appeared where none had been before. What are we looking at? He asked his chief science officer. Ships, sir. Human ships. But not like any we've seen before. These are much larger. The map showed massive energy signatures moving out from previously unknown locations in human space. Hidden shipyards that had never appeared on any council scan were now revealing their products. "How many?" asked General Draff. "At least 200 capital ships, or possibly more." The general's face turned a darker shade of blue. 200. The humans never reported having more than 50 capital ships in their fleet reports to the council. They appear to have been less than honest about their military capabilities. In deep space, Admiral Susan Reynolds stood on the bridge of the Earthship Defender, the largest human warship ever built. Nearly a mile long, it carried enough firepower to reduce a small moon to rubble. Around her, the deep space fleet moved with perfect precision, despite never having been revealed to the public before now. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said her second-in-command, Captain Eric Bennett. "Good," Susan replied. "Take positions at the designated points but maintain passive stance. Weapons systems on standby only. We're here to show strength, not start a war." The massive human fleet spread out, taking positions near key strategic locations across the border of human and council space. At each point, they simply stopped and waited, making no aggressive moves. The council's military advisors met in an emergency session. "What are they doing?" demanded High Minister Kileth. "Why deploy such a fleet and then just sit there?" "It's a show of force," explained General Draff. "They're demonstrating capability without engaging." "Can we match them?" asked another council member. The general hesitated. "Not immediately. Our fleets are scattered. Many of our ships are outdated compared to what the humans have just revealed. They've been hiding their true technological level from us." Meanwhile, human diplomats reached out to 3 species that had remained neutral in galactic politics. Special Envoy Lisa Howard traveled to meet with representatives of the Kaltorian hegemony, a powerful but reclusive race that had kept apart from council affairs. "Earth offers exclusive trade rights," Lisa explained to the Kaltorian leader. "Direct access to our technology, resources, and markets. In exchange, we ask only for your neutrality in any potential conflict with the Council." Similar offers went to the Minari Collective and the Juran Empire. Within days, all 3 had accepted, creating a new economic alliance outside Council influence. On Earth, President Martinez addressed all human worlds and colonies in a system-wide broadcast. His image appeared in homes, public squares, and ship displays across human territory. "Citizens of Earth and her colonies," he began. "For too long, we have been treated as junior partners in galactic affairs. We have contributed our resources, our technology, and our labor to build a galactic community, only to discover betrayal at the highest levels." He revealed images and data showing Council ships secretly harvesting resources from protected human colonies, Council spies stealing human technology, and transcripts of Council leaders dismissing humans as primitive and easily manipulated. "We did not choose this path," the President continued, "but we will not return to a system that treats us with contempt. From this day forward, humanity will chart its own course among the stars." In their homes across human space, people watched with growing pride and resolve. Many had wondered why the sudden break with the Council. Now they understood. On Mars, Dr. Richard Collins watched the President's speech with his team. When it ended, he turned to his colleague. "It's time," he said. "Prepare the quantum interdiction prototypes for deployment. Phase 3 is about to begin." 6 months passed since Earth cut all contact with the Galactic Council. What began as an inconvenience had grown into a full crisis. Council economies continued to fall. Food riots broke out on 12 worlds. Trade routes that once connected the galaxy now sat empty or were controlled by pirates that the weakened Council fleet could not stop. On the Galactic Council station, High Minister Kileth called together the remaining Council members. Many seats remained empty as some species had withdrawn completely. "We can no longer ignore reality," Kileth said, his voice heavy with defeat. "We must seek terms with the humans." "Terms?" shouted a representative from the back. "They should be the ones seeking terms with us. We are the Galactic Council." "We were the Galactic Council," corrected Sora. The Aldarian. Now we are just a group of hungry species with failing economies and broken alliances. The vote passed with little opposition. The Council would send its highest-ranking diplomats to seek a meeting with Earth. 3 days later, 5 Council ships approached the edge of Sol's system, broadcasting peace signals on all channels. They stopped at the border marker and waited. After 6 hours, a message came from Earth. One representative may proceed to Neutral Station Alpha. Unarmed. Alone. The Council diplomats argued among themselves. Finally, it was decided that Jorvex, the oldest and most respected diplomat of the Centauri, would go. On Neutral Station Alpha, a small space station at the edge of the solar system, Ambassador Gregory Peterson waited. The plane room contained only a simple table and 2 chairs. No recording devices, no staff, just 2 representatives who would decide the fate of billions of lives across the galaxy. The door opened, and Jorvex entered. The old Centauri moved slowly, his blue skin wrinkled with age, his forearms thin but steady. "Ambassador Peterson," he said with a formal bow, "I bring greetings from the Galactic Council. I receive you as a representative of Earth." Gregory replied, not returning the bow. "Please sit." For the next 6 hours, they talked. Jorvex offered reparations for the Council's actions. He promised new trade deals, better terms, special status for human worlds. Gregory listened to each offer without expression. When Jorvex finally finished, Gregory placed a small device on the table. It projected a hologram showing Earth's demands. Jorvex's eyes widened as he read. This is not negotiation. This would mean the end of the Council as it has existed for 2,000 years. Yes, Gregory said simply. Complete reorganization of the Council structure. Equal representation for all member species regardless of age or territory. Full autonomy for humanity in all its affairs. These terms are impossible. Those are our terms, Gregory replied. Earth will accept nothing less. When news of Earth's demands reached the Council, the reaction was immediate chaos. Some representatives stormed out in anger. Others called for war. A few sat in stunned silence. But before any decision could be made, more bad news arrived. The Telluride Union, one of the Council's founding members, had sent a message directly to Earth, offering a separate peace deal. The Proxima Collective had done the same. Both species had decided to break with the Council and deal with humanity on their own. They're breaking us apart, Kaleth realized too late. This was their plan all along. On Earth, Intelligence Officer Laura Walton rushed into a secure meeting room where President Martinez was speaking with his advisors. "Sir, we've intercepted Council communications," she said, placing a datapad on the table. "Our cryptographers just decoded them. A faction within the Council is planning to launch a strike against Earth while the peace talks continue." The President's face hardened. Which faction? The military alliance led by the Draxian Empire. They've gathered a strike force at their home base. They plan to attack within 3 days. So they talk peace while planning war, the President said, his voice cold. "Admiral Wright, is our special project ready?" "Yes, sir. Dr. Collins reports that all systems are green." "Then prepare the ultimatum." It's time the Council understood exactly what they're dealing with. The large meeting hall on Earth's moon base fell silent as Chief Engineer Alan Parker walked to the center of the room. Representatives from 17 alien species sat in a half-circle, watching him with curious eyes. These were not Council officials but independent observers invited by Earth to witness something important. "Thank you for coming," Alan said. "What I am about to show you will change our understanding of space travel forever." He activated a screen showing a small satellite-like device. This is a quantum interdiction generator. It creates a field that disrupts the space-time conditions necessary for faster-than-light travel. The aliens murmured among themselves. FTL travel was the foundation of galactic civilization. Without it, journeys between stars would take decades or centuries instead of days. "Let me demonstrate," Alan continued. He pressed a button on his control pad. The screen changed to show a small human outpost orbiting a distant moon. A timer appeared in the corner, counting down from 60 seconds. We have activated a small-scale interdiction field around Outpost Gamma 3. For the next minute, no ship will be able to enter or leave that area using FTL drives. The alien observers watched in silence as the timer counted down. When it reached 0, Alan nodded to his assistant, who pressed another button. The field disappeared. This was a small demonstration with a limited device, Alan explained. But we have the capability to deploy these generators throughout human space, creating a barrier that no FTL ship could cross. One alien stood up, his scaled skin reflecting the light. You would cut yourselves off from the galaxy. If necessary, Alan replied. We prefer cooperation, but we will protect ourselves by any means required. The observers left immediately, rushing to report what they had seen to their homeworlds. 3 days later, President Martinez sat in the Oval Office, reviewing the reaction to their demonstration. Reports showed panicked messages racing across Council communication channels. The revelation of humanity's new technology had shocked the galaxy. It worked, said Secretary of Defense Frank Miller. The independent worlds are already reaching out to us directly, bypassing the Council completely. The President nodded. And the Council's reaction? Divided. Some want to negotiate immediately. Others, the Draxian Military Alliance, still planning their attack. Our intelligence suggests they don't believe our technology works on a large scale. They think it was a bluff. The President's face grew stern. Then we need to make our position absolutely clear. He picked up a secure communication device. Send the ultimatum. Across Council space, on every official channel, Earth's message played simultaneously. Attention Galactic Council. Earth demands immediate reform of Council structure as per our previously submitted terms. Compliance must begin within 72 hours. Refusal or hostile action will result in activation of our quantum interdiction network, isolating Council space from FTL travel. This is not a negotiation. On the human colony, Nexus I, Governor Henry Wilson watched the message play on public screens in the colony's main plaza. Citizens gathered, looking up with a mixture of pride and worry on their faces. Will there be war, Governor? Asked a young woman. I hope not, Henry replied. But if it comes, we're ready. He glanced up at the sky where Earth ships patrolled, more numerous than ever before. In orbit above them, the first of the quantum interdiction satellites waited, ready to be activated. On the edge of the colony's territory, long-range sensors detected multiple ships approaching. Council warships belonging to the hardline Draxian faction. They had positioned themselves just outside colonial space, their weapons powered but not yet active. Governor Wilson received the alert on his personal device. With a grim face, he opened a secure channel to Earth Command. This is Governor Wilson of Nexus I. Council warships have taken position near our border. They appear to be preparing for possible hostile action. The reply came immediately. Understood, Governor. Defensive fleet is en route. Maintain alert status. Do not engage unless fired upon. Henry looked back at the citizens in the plaza, still watching the screens. They didn't know yet that Council ships lurked just beyond their colony. He hoped they would never need to know. The countdown to Earth's deadline had begun. Earth's ultimatum reached its final hours. On view screens across the galaxy, the countdown ticked away. 48 hours had passed with no official response from the Galactic Council. The remaining 24 hours stretched like an eternity. In the early morning hours, Earth time, the sensors around Nexus I lit up with warnings. 3 Draxian battleships broke formation and accelerated toward the human colony. They're powering weapons, reported Defense Chief Amy Gordon to Governor Henry Wilson. Their course will take them directly to our quantum interdiction platform. Evacuation status? Henry asked, his voice steady despite the crisis. Civilian shelters at 80% capacity. We need another 20 minutes to get everyone below ground. On the main defense screen, Henry watched as 5 human ships moved to intercept the attackers. Admiral Paul Wright's voice came through the command channel. "This is Admiral Wright to all Earth vessels near Nexus I. Defensive positions only. I repeat, defensive positions only." The human ships formed a protective barrier between the colony and the approaching Draxians, but they were outnumbered. In Earth's command center, President Martinez watched the same images with his military advisors. "The Draxians are testing us," Admiral Wright said from his command ship. "If they destroy that interdiction platform, they'll claim our technology was a bluff." "Can our ships hold them off?" the president asked. "Not without taking heavy losses. The Draxians sent their best ships." The president's face showed no emotion as he made his decision. "Activate Defense Plan Omega and prepare the interdiction network." Near Nexus II, the 3 Draxian ships fired first. Energy beams sliced through space toward the human vessels. The human ships returned fire, their more advanced weapons causing damage to the lead Draxian ship. What the Draxians didn't know was that 7 more human ships waited nearby, hidden by stealth technology. They had been positioned there days earlier by Admiral Wright, who had anticipated this attack. As the Draxians pressed their attack, the hidden ships suddenly appeared behind them. The Draxians found themselves caught between 2 human fleets. "All ships, defensive fire only," Admiral Wright ordered. "Disable their engines and weapons if possible." The battle was short but intense. 2 Draxian ships were crippled, their engines destroyed and weapons disabled. The third turned to flee but found its path blocked. Across Council space, news of the failed attack spread quickly. The Draxians, one of the most powerful military forces in the Council, had been defeated without the humans losing a single ship. But Earth wasn't finished. From a secure facility on Mars, Dr. Richard Collins activated the full interdiction network for the first time. Hundreds of satellites positioned near the borders of aggressive Council species came to life. Quantum fields spread across space, creating barriers that no faster-than-light ship could cross. The Draxian Home System, along with their allies, the Vespian Collective and the Zoran Empire, suddenly found themselves cut off from the rest of the galaxy. Ships trying to leave these systems dropped out of FTL travel, stranded in deep space. Their fastest ships would now take years to reach the nearest habitable world. The rest of the Council watched in shock as 3 of their most powerful members were effectively removed from galactic affairs in an instant. 6 hours before Earth's ultimatum expired, a message arrived from the remaining Council members. "We accept your terms. The Council will reorganize as requested. Please restore FTL travel to isolated systems." 1 year after Earth had cut off all diplomacy with the Galactic Council, President Martinez stood in a grand hall on neutral territory. Around him were representatives from 17 alien species, some former Council members, some previously neutral powers. Together, they signed the Sol Accords, establishing the new galactic governing body with equal representation for all members. The old Council structure was officially dissolved. As the president picked up the ceremonial pen to sign the document, he thought back to that day 1 year ago, when Earth had taken its greatest gamble. The diplomatic blackout that had seemed so risky then had proven to be humanity's greatest strength. Across human space, citizens celebrated as communication channels reopened. News broadcasts showed the signing ceremony and explained the new galactic order that Earth had helped create. On the edge of human space, the quantum interdiction platforms powered down, allowing free travel once more. But they remained in place, a reminder that humanity would never again allow itself to be treated as anything less than equals in the galaxy.